Good evening, everybody. This is your host, Folk, and welcome back to another episode of the Channel 256 News brought to you by Bitcoin Mining World. Today is September 12th. Bitcoin sitting all the way up above $116,000. Pretty crazy day today in the markets, topping off at $116,700, getting close to that $117,000 range, finally breaking back above the $115,000 mark that we've been talking about for quite a while now. You can see the last time we were up above $115,000 was August 23rd, so it's been a few months now. It's super nice to see these moves coming out of the market. Not so hot over in traditional finance today, but Bitcoin was still able to achieve some really nice gains despite the fact. Over here, looking at the Bitcoin net hash rate, taking a bit of a dive as miners start to curtail during this heat wave that we're facing down here in the south. I know a lot of the big Texas players are shutting down, selling some power back to the grids, getting some non-BTC money in their pockets, which is always nice to see. Anything that makes their operations more sustainable is a net positive for all of us in the industry. It could be people trying to game the system. Here up next, we're going to be talking about the price per petahash, which has gone up over the last 24 hours. But yeah, kind of crazy to see the massive swings. I mean, we're talking 200 exahash, 2 to 400 exahash within a very short time frame of 24 to 36 hours. I mean, if you think about how many miners it takes to get to an exahash, I mean, it's 5 of the newest gen miners, air cooled at least. If you're rocking with some S21 200 Ts, just to get to a petahash, it takes 1,000 petahash to get up to an exahash, and we're ranging anywhere between 100 to 400 exahash a day. Insane to see. Over here from Luxor, we've got the Bitcoin net hash, or not Bitcoin net hash rate, excuse me, the price per petahash each day reaching a high of $54.44. Nice to see. You can over the last few days, we're up from a low of the $51 range. So people are getting paid more for plugging in. However, people are still getting paid even more for unplugging during times of high peak demand in the energy market. Like I said, traditional finance taking a little bit of a dip today. Here's the Dow Jones. I mean, if you're looking at the weekly charts, we're still up like crazy. Everything was hitting new all-time highs yesterday. The Dow, the S&P, the Nasdaq all reached new all-time highs yesterday. However, only the S&P was able to close above its all-time high. S&P down 3 points, just bare. I mean, really damn near stable coin today. It's super great way to close out the week. Super excited heading into next week. We got the rate cut hopefully coming on Wednesday. Not only just a rate cut, but hopefully we see them giving a clear signal that we are going into a rate cutting cycle, signifying to the market that things are good to go. We're ready to deploy some capital, just free money. I personally don't like referencing the M2 global supply all that much, but yeah, especially over the last few weeks with how much they've decoupled from each other. I know a lot of people raise on that, but it's just more free money in the market, and lowering interest rates is going to increase global liquidity everywhere, which is nice to see. Over here in the NASDAQ, we got the only green index today, major index today at least, up 98 points, about 0.5%. And then the Russell down an entire percent. However, still maintaining to stay really close to that $2,400 level that we've been talking about in great detail over the past couple weeks. Back to some Bitcoin news. We got CoinDesk. Bitcoin Ether catch up to Friday afternoon bids rise to 3-week highs. Kind of cool. I mean, this is back from a few weeks ago when Ethereum was breaking out, hitting a new all-time high. We're finally making some nice gains again. Over here from Cointelegraph, we got some interesting news in the stablecoin market. Tether to launch USAT, names ex-Trump advisor as CEO. The former White House crypto advisor who joined Tether in August will become CEO of its planned U.S.-regulated dollar-backed stablecoin project. Tether announces a new dollar-backed stablecoin, and said former White House crypto advisor Bo Hines, I believe, Hines. We'll go with Hines for this article. Hines will become CEO of Tether USAT. The new stablecoin will be consistent with the reserve requirements and compliance standards of the recently passed Genius stablecoin bill, and will use Tether's Hadron real-world asset tokenization platform, according to a Friday announcement. Stablecoins recently crossed the $270 billion milestone, according to RWA.xyz. Tether CEO Porlo Ardiano said Tether is already one of the largest holders of US Treasuries because we believe deeply in enduring power of the dollar. USAT is our commitment to ensuring the dollar not only remains dominant in the digital age, but thrives. You can see they got their little Tether logo on the T on USAT, kind of cool. We got a Gemini IPO coming out from Block article. Gemini IPO trades over $40 per share, sending the Winklevoss-led firm's evaluation to $4.75 billion. Gemini Space Station, ticker GEMI, is a crypto firm led by Tyler and Cameron Winklevoss. Couldn't remember his name yesterday. Saw its shares trade above $40 a share on Friday, pushing its valuation, at least temporarily, to approximately $4.75 billion. Earlier in the day, Gemini said that they have raised $425 million by selling over $15 million Class A shares for $28 a piece after listing on the NASDAQ exchange. According to the pre-sale release, Gemini had expected a market price of $24 to $26, an increase from its previous estimate. Taking a look at the actual price chart, you can see its previous close, or what they were selling their IPO shares at least, of $28, peaking all the way up to that $40 range, and then still being able to manage to close at $32.41. Pretty huge. And even in the aftermarket, some after trading, $32.60. It's making some huge gains. It's always nice to see any type of exchange, Bitcoin mining, any of those big players go public. It just further legitimizes the space in the eyes of traditional finance folks. Anything that gets the headlines going and gets Bitcoin in more people's heads is a good thing overall. I genuinely do believe that. Over here from PolyMarket Ways, financing at $9 to $10 billion valuation, while I believe this is KoShi, is close to raising at $5 billion valuation. Reports. Prediction market platforms PolyMarket and KoShi are considering raising additional capital at evaluations of $9 billion and $5 billion, respectively, according to the information which cited anonymous sources. PolyMarket has considered an offer that would value the company as much as $9 billion, according to the people who have spoken to the company's leaders. Quote unquote, the information reported that would be a huge jump in price for the startup, which raised money at a $1 billion valuation earlier this summer. Any of you angel investors that were able to get in at that $1 billion valuation are sitting pretty hot at their 900% gains. Over here from Cointelegraph, we got Bitcoin miner accumulation reaches pace not seen since 2023. Our new BTC highs next. I don't know. 2023 was a pretty boring year in crypto. If you don't, you want to say a 48% rally in 2023. Let's go back and check that actually. Go back into this max. What were we seeing over in 2023? Bada boom. I mean, we did get to see that nice initial little pump right up to 70K back from those $30,000 lows. Okay, I'd take it back, man. I mean, if we're seeing something cool come out of here, I personally don't understand why they would cite the 2023 rally of all things. You'd think they'd be citing the 2024 pump, but apparently that's when it coincided with this type of Bitcoin miner accumulation. More people plugging in is a good thing, but anybody that's jumping into the Bitcoin mining game this late into a cycle at these high of ASIC prices is probably going to end up getting burnt unless they just have a huge stockpile of cash sitting over there on the sidelines to bail them out in case it's needed. However, I do wish all these big players the best. If they can weather out the storms and survive this next bear, all of them end up in the green substantially. Just see if they've got the guts to weather the storm or not. Over here, we got some cool news on the miner mag. We got IREN co-founders to cash out $66 million as stock hits record highs. One thing I didn't know is they're actually brothers on the co-founders of this, William and Daniel Roberts. The co-founders and co-CEOs as well, which is cool, of Bitcoin miner IREN have sold a combined 2 million shares as the company's stock price climbed to record highs above $33. Each brother sold 1 million shares, which with the transactions totaling more than $33 million apiece, according to SEC filings on Thursday. Together, the sales amounted to about $66 million in market value. Absolutely nuts to see guys cashing out after taking a huge amount of risk. So it's awesome to see that they're finally getting to reap some of the rewards for all their hard work and risk taking. However, we're gonna go ahead and end off the video here, guys. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Once again, everybody's happy to see Bitcoin rocking and rolling, ripping above that $116,000 level. Hopefully, we wake up again. Yesterday, we said hopefully we wake up to some more green, and it happened. Hopefully, again, we can keep that trend going over the weekend and into next week when we're getting ready for those rate cuts for JP to come up on stage and hopefully give us the good news. Thank you so much for watching. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe and hit that noti bell as well so you'll always be notified when we're posting new content or going live. Thank you all again so much for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Peace.